Okay. Let's get into it. I've been doing some thoughts onto our animation system. Like I promised last stream, we probably would be changing it up a little bit. And I do want to finish the animation system tonight. That's my core goal, is get the animation system done and ideally get the actual capsule in the hands of the player, get that properly spawning and working. So with that said, our first order of business today is going to be completely remaking the way we handle our animations. With that said, let's jump straight into it. And we'll start where we left off last time, except we're going to be completely gutting our animation handler script, because we're pretty much going to be restarting from scratch again. So let's do this. First of all, we don't need input anymore, and we're getting rid of all of this holding data because we just don't need to check for triggers. I don't think it's useful, and it's really just been quite messy, frankly. So let's start all the way from scratch here. Make sure my music is actually playing for me. Okay. It should be fine. We should not need the Arsenal manager. Now, the way this is going to work, this new system, it's still going to be handled by the action state. And this pretty much determines what action are you currently in, right? So this will be aiming, throwing. It'll also handle jumping. So let's add that as well. And the action itself is just aim, throw. We don't need the ing at the end. So that should be good. My music keeps freezing, which is annoying. Okay. Cool. So, we're not doing jump yet. I think we're going to try to get aim and throwing working first. But, essentially, the way we're going to handle the triggers, because we're kind of failing at that, frankly, in our original script, is we're going to make another or new function itself, and that'll essentially serve as a trigger, right? Because it's a one-time use thing. So let's call this trigger action, maybe. We'll go with that for now. And this should be a system that can actually last for a long time, which is the main idea of doing this, is that we're going to be able to keep this system for all future animations and actions that we add in the future. So this will just be called new action. And what I also want to do is I want to move the action state, because I want to try to get this to handle it throughout the entire process, like not just animation, but sound and actually doing any specific action. So what we're gonna do, action state does not. Oh, right, yeah, that's all the other scripts that we've been doing, that's fine. So let's go to our managers. We're going to make a new script, and this one is going to be a player manager, and this will handle all of the top level core information of what the player is currently doing. This will also be pretty useful for when we add co-op, because we can just send the player manager, and that's going to determine, right, how we actually interact, right? What animations will play on the other person's screen. So let's open this up. We're going to set action state enum will be under the player manager. Like so. Clear that out. And I think in this case, we can probably have trigger action directly in the player manager as well. That should be fine. Just trying to think, because we still probably want an animation handler, but is there much point if we have a player manager script? I'm not sure. We'll see. But now we can run it all through the player manager, and I mean, split them off into an animation handler, sound manager, handler as needed if we want to. So first, let's get our animator again. This is going to be arms animator, or maybe even FPS animator, because it's our first person controller, which is completely separate for when we actually add a 3D player model for co-op and maybe third person to see. We'll have two separate animators for them. So we'll just call it FPS animator. Or yeah, I think that'll be fine. And let's also add in a new variable for our crossfade time, because before we were just setting it at like 0.1 float on every crossframe, and we don't need to have 0.1 set everywhere and then we need to change it. We can just set it in one variable. So let's call these general variables. Is that what I've been using? Yep. Yeah, let's add in the float for the crossfade time, and set a default to 0.1f. And then we'll go private action state, and we'll just call it action state, which defaults to action state none. Okay. Now, when we go to trigger our action, what we want to do first, if the action has already happened, or like we're currently in the action essentially, we're not wanting to play it again. That's going to stop us from like spam repeating jump or spam repeating the aim animation. Instead, it'll let it go to aiming and then sit there, which is really important because that's one thing we're getting stuck on. So let's make that very simple. It's just if our current action, so if the player is already performing the action, we'll just return. It's very simple. If the new action is the, actually I like the other way around. If the current action state is equal to the new action, then we have already done it, so we'll just return. Next, we will get the new animation state name, and then we'll play that. So we can do that in one of two kind of separate ways. We can either do like a function that goes through like a switch map, or we could do like a dictionary. Are We could probably do it through a function. I don't see why not. Just go get animation name. Well, let's go get action animation I think that'll be good. Get action animation. And we're returning a string because that's how we crossfade the animations. We go action state is the action. Actually, let's call these actions. I think that makes more sense. Current action. There we go. I think that makes more sense. So, in this case, we're essentially just mapping it to a big switch function, right? So, just do a switch action and then have a case for every single action type we have. So, if we are jumping, then return our animation, which for jumping, it's currently just called jumping anim. And we can essentially just change this over time. Hello, RK. This was fast. You're doing great. I'm slowly starting to get into more streams, hopefully. We'll see what this week kind of ends up being because I have an assessment due and I'm doing almost all of the work for like a team-based assessment. So we'll see. But we are getting there. Today, I want to get this animation system done because then we can get the devlog video done and then we can actually get into starting to lay out the map itself, which will be really fun. Okay, we can also add in a default where we'll just return nothing. That should work. I'm not sure why this is being grayed out though. Let's see if I can... Nope. Case... Oh, am I not breaking? Is that it? No. We shouldn't need a break, should we? That breaks it. What? Return NM. Like, I know we have more actions to do. I'm not sure why the animation function itself is being grayed out. It's very strange to me. Do we just pull this out? That's not going to do anything. That is confusing. Let's just go jump slash no action, essentially. Did not expect the Sunday one, so I was not there. That's all good. I'm gonna try to ramp up the amount of streams we're doing, but like I said, we'll see. I think I also did... Did you make it to the one that was on... on Friday? I'm not sure if you made it to that one as well. I did a couple streams since last week. I think this is the third one, though. This is, I guess, the next week, in fairness. Okay, let's add in the remaining animations then at least, and figure out why this is being weird after. So we're just going to return the aim animation, which is currently just called aim. And then we will do the throw action. Like so. That should work. Yeah, I still don't know why it's being grayed out, but that's fine, I guess. The other option is... Okay, that's just not work. I don't know why it's been grayed out. That's fine. So now that we can get the action animation name, what we're going to do is essentially just crossfade from that. So let's go get the animation name. Yep, animation state name. And that will just be get action anim. I guess that works. Now it's not grayed out. And then we just want to crossfade. So the FPS animator will crossfade using the anim name, and we'll use that crossfade time that we made. And that should handle our animations. We'll need to update the current action. So let's go update current action, and that'll just be setting the current action to the new action. And that should be all that we need here. Let's go play animation. Yeah, that should be fine. We should be able to... I think we'll be getting rid of the animation handler, frankly. We might keep it or convert part of the player manager into that at some point. But for now, I don't think we need it. Now we need to change when we actually start aiming. All we need to do is... let's go player manager instead of our animation handler. Player manager, put that under our general variables. And player manager, we can actually leave as private because we can just get the component directly in the start method. Component player manager, because this is all on the main player game object, so that should be fine. And then we will just set the action to set current action to aim, which will be as simple as player manager dot trigger action, and then the action dot aim. Now, if we stop aiming, we pretty much just need to set the current action to nothing, I think. And then when we throw, that's just 1 as well, which will be action type throw. Let's see if that fixed all of our errors that we've created for ourselves. It looks like it has. Let's see if this works. Either it'll work or everything will be broken. So when we press right click, oh, okay. So player manager's not being set, I guess. Oh, actually, yeah. Sorry, we didn't actually add that yet. Add the player manager to the player. Let's put this all the way at the top because that's the main thing for every single player. And we'll connect up the placeholder arms. And we no longer need animation handler there. Okay, let's see if this works. So now we right click to aim. It plays the animation. We let go. And it does not stop. Okay. I am pretty sure I know why that's happening. That's an easy fix. Instead of returning nothing, let's just return back to idle, right? Idle's your default animation. It would be good if we could, like, just cancel the animation. I don't know if that's an option. I don't think that's an option. Now we can set current action to action type none if we need to. It's just, I don't think that actually really does much. We'll see. Let's try this now though. We have idle animation on, so now right click to aim, then we let go and it stops. That's a good sign. Now we left click while aiming and it should play the throw animation, which it does, so that's good. Doesn't look the same as what it does in Blender, but that's fine. Let's try that again. Yep. And sprinting still works, but we're going to be changing the way sprinting works anyways. And then jumping still plays through our standard state controller, which also means while we're aiming and we jump, we're going to always be aiming. Which I'm thinking, if we jump, then we should cancel the aim. Because I think basically this is an action. Jumping is also an action, so it should essentially override the current action that's being played. So the way we do that would just be going into our player movement controller. Scripts movement. And we're just going to move our animation stuff for jumping, wherever that is here. Instead of using this arms animator, which is what we're trying to avoid, is directly setting animations here. So we'll do the same for sprinting. We'll play it all through the player manager. So let's get a private player manager in this script as well. Player manager. And let's get the component in the start method. So now we can go for jumping. We simply just go player manager dot trigger action with action type of jump. And I don't actually think we need to set any animation boolean here. Let's see what that does. Because the animator itself has a trigger for when you're grounded. So if we're not setting is jump, it should... This kind of works. It's okay, so the jump animation does play, but only once. That's interesting. It's probably this. And by the way, this is what we're trying to avoid, is this spider web that's going to keep growing. Like the way we made aiming, right? Where it's just the exit function, but aiming as an action doesn't need to be connected. That's what I want. So in this case, we don't need any triggers for jumping at all. You'll jump, then you'll go to the falling animation, and falling will essentially reset to idle at the end of its playing, so that's fine. And that's just if you're grounded, which I think might be part of the reason why it's not counting. If we delete has jumped, right? It is used by transition to idle. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, this does not matter. Let's just delete these for now. We'll deal with sprinting animation later. Okay. I think what this might end up doing, though, is when we jump, it might try to instantly reset. Let's see. Well, it works once. That's the kind of confusing thing. So let's into game view. Let's pull out the scene view as well. And let's just have a look at what's happening to the animation here. We jump once, that works fine. Then we jump again, and it no longer works. So that's the problem that we're currently competing against, is that second jump. So the question is, what in here is causing that to happen? If the player has jumped and is grounded, we will trigger jump. That's fine. How does the animation work? Let's just make sure this trigger is fine. Yep, just has exit time, no condition, so that's good. So if the player is grounded and we press jump, it will trigger the action, which is good. And then after we have jumped, wait the delay and then reset it, which is fine. There should be no more booleans. It could be there is grounded boolean, maybe. It's sprinting, which we don't care about. Okay, so the only animation here is if we're grounded. One easy way to test this would be in a update function. We can just debug log the current action, because that'll kind of tell us, like, is the action just not being reset potentially, which I think is actually probably the case. Yeah, actually, I'm almost certain that's the case. So right now, we don't care about is sprinting. Okay, that's annoying. Hold up. Okay. Let's just comment out the sprinting stuff for now, because that's getting annoying. Well, if this isn't going to actually debug log, I don't know what's going on there. I think that's just our hot reload plugin breaking again. But what I'm pretty certain is happening is we're triggering the animation, but we're still in the jumped animation because we're not resetting it like we are with aiming. So every time we trigger the action, what we should do is clear the current action, maybe. No, that's not going to matter, because the if statement cancels it out anyways. So it's this if statement that's breaking it, right? Like, we can test it by just commenting it out. Essentially what's happening is it's still saying that we're in the jumping animation, which means that it's just not going to play. So here, play it again, yep. And the reason why we had that line was when we go to aim, okay, maybe we didn't need that animation or that line of code. It was basically to stop it from trying to keep replaying the aim. But this is actually only triggered once when we right click. So that actually doesn't matter. It will matter for running though. When we convert running into an action, then it's going to basically say, well, you're running. And then when you hold shift, it's going to be like, well, you're already running. And it's going to try to restart the animation. We don't want that. So we do need that line. for things that aren't triggers, essentially. Just put this in a better order. Okay. So, what can we do then? And is sprinting even an action in the first place? I would probably say it's probably an action. In fairness, I would say it's probably an action. So, and an action, by the way, just so everyone understands, actions will always override the current action, right? So you don't want like a movement script as an action, right? Any movement animations, that's core movement, because an animation, like an action animation, is played over the top of that no matter what. It's what allows you to aim and still have like a sprinting animation for your legs. So for sprinting, as an example, sprinting is kind of both an action and not an action. Like, it's also core movement, so I'm not sure, but I think we should just leave it in for now. So if the current action is what they were already performing the new action that we're trying to trigger, then we're going to return, which means we need a way of canceling the action after. So for the movement script, what we have to do is essentially change the action type to none. And when we do that, though, it's going to reset back to idle, which we don't want. We could go player manager dot where is it? Make this a public action, which we will want anyways. And we said current action is action none. If we did that, what that would mean is essentially that it's resetting to say that it's no longer jumping, which allows us to repeat this, which is good. We still have all of these animations playing, which is good. Does the idle still play after? Looks like it does. So that's good. I feel like this is a crude way of doing this, but I mean, it works, I guess. Let's comment this just so we understand what's happening. Reset current action. It's like passive. Yeah, so any core movement will always play. So it's passive in the sense that it's always running a core movement, no matter the action you do. But the actions will then run over the top of it on the bones that matter, right? So for aiming, it's going to play your right arm, swinging up into an aiming position. But your legs will just keep playing that running animation. And so would your left arm in this case. So actions are way more situational. Therefore, if you get stuck, if you jump, if you are doing literally an action, if you're holding an item, that's an action. So let's add this stuff into sprinting, which is quite simple now. We just go player manager dot trigger action and action dot sprint, which we need to now make. I'm gonna put that at the top. And let's connect these. Case action.sprint. We will return our animation, which I think is just called running. There we go. Sprint, running. Great. Sorry, I auto left. That's all good. Okay. Now, if we're not sprinting, we now need to stop going to a new line. We now need to essentially trigger, not trigger, but reset the current action to nothing. But if we do that, then we're not going to be able to run anymore. So actually, we don't want to do that. It could be worth creating a new function, maybe, where we handle holding actions differently to triggering actions. We could do that. I'm not sure how that would work exactly, so let's have a look. So we have the current action that we're doing. Let's just assume we're aiming currently, right? So we're aiming, and we're playing that animation. Now, when we start to sprint, the first thing that we need to do is trigger the sprinting animation. And that'll just start sprinting. It's on a loop, so that'll just keep going forever. So then the question becomes, how do you exit the loop, right? One way to do that would be check if you currently are sprinting. And if you are sprinting, but you're no longer doing the action, then trigger back to none. We could try that. In that case, what that would be is inside of handle sprinting, because we do have an is sprinting boolean anyways, which we need. So we can say if we're sprinting. Oh, wait, hold up. This is checking if we're not sprinting. Okay. So if this is an if statement, that means we are sprinting. Doing a great job. Glad to see you willingly working on your game without me needing to push you to work on it. I am getting to the game. We are slowly completing it. We are almost done the first stage so that I can get into making devlog videos, or the next devlog video, and then we can start editing the map. But it is happening. It is happening. Let's see. So if we're not sprinting, which is this here, okay. Actually, so much of this is messed up. Sorry, hold up. Okay, I don't... Yeah, okay. We need to start sprinting outside of that if statement. Like so. Okay. Now, when we're sprinting, it triggers the action. When we let go, so when we're no longer sprinting, we set it to false. I think one way to do this would be making an if statement here. Just checking for the initial time when you stop sprinting, right? The first time when you stop sprinting, which means is sprinting is still true. Then we can trigger Not even trigger to set the current action. Oh yeah, I guess trigger. Trigger the action for sprint. And then here, clear that. Our sprinting animation does not need a transition, I believe. Let's see if that works. So we hold shift. Animation does play. We let go. Animation is still playing. That's a problem. Why is that happening? Sprint is no longer being pressed. Is sprinting is still true. Oh, we set. Hold up. I'm dumb. We make that action type of none, not of sprint. That makes sense. I think this should work. So we're sprinting. Now we let go. That works. Now jumping makes our character sprint again, which is interesting. What about aiming? Aiming now plays the jumping animation. Interesting. That is so strange. So it's like it's playing the last animation. So if I start sprinting, that still works. Now jumping causes the sprint animation, and right clicking causes the jumping animation. How does this make any sense? What did we do? We set the action to none, which is good. If we're not sprinting anymore, but only on that first tick. And we trigger sprinting if we are sprinting, if we are holding the key grounded and we are moving. So what's the issue? Why? Sprinting is being called every frame, which is fine because we're cancelling it out. Something's happening with the player manager where let's just check what our current action is and our new action. And let's just add a breaker. So if we haven't sprinted at all and we hold right click, it does jump. Why? We're clearly aiming. Did we break the this? If sprinting, return running. Jumping, return jumping. Aim, return aim. For what? I am very confused. Somehow our lines of code for sprinting made aiming use jump? No, okay, that's not the line of code. Let's just remove those debug logs then. Did we mess up jumping somehow? Jumping's fine. And what about aiming? Play aim, play none, play and throw. Okay, so something's happening in our jump script. Let's have a look at that then. If the player has jumped and is grounded, so this is if we actually press spacebar, play the jump animation, which is fine. Current action, it's action none. This is very confusing. Let's just check hot reload. Let's try to recompile and just see if that fixes whatever's been going on. Okay, so we hold right click. That works. Spacebar to jump, then right click to aim. Then shift to sprint. Okay. I don't know what broke there, to be honest. I have no idea what was causing that. It just fixed itself. So now when we sprint and then we stop, that's fine. When we sprint and we jump, it doesn't play the jump animation. So we do need to look into that. Because that's the last thing is holding right click and we start sprinting, it cancels out, which is perfect. While sprinting and I go to aim, it cancels out sprinting, which is good. While aiming and we jump, it cancels out, which is good. Okay, so sprinting doesn't always... Like, sprinting sometimes overrides no matter what, it seems. Or maybe it's... Okay, I think it's when you stop moving. That's fine. So it's cancelling out our animations, which is exactly what we want. Now, we need to actually cancel out the functionality, because that's not happening. And there is a pretty easy way to do this. Let's see if I remember how to collapse my regions in Visual Studio. Collapse all. Control M, Control O. There we go. Okay. So. Oh, did that not collapse them all? Okay. Control. Control M and Control O. That's collapsing the the function itself. Why is that not collapsing the code? Control M plus O. That's annoying. I guess we just manually collapse it then. Well, basically what we want to do is we need to cancel some of this functionality for when we're aiming and our action is no longer playing, right? So, the easiest way to do that, I guess, would be if the player stops pressing aiming, which is this one, we need to make sure that we're actually still aiming in the first place. So if the current action is aim, then we can check if it's been released, like the aim key. And the same thing, when you press throw, make sure that we're still actually aiming, right? Because if we're no longer aiming, we don't want that functionality playing. If the player is holding aim and a slime is not selected, try to pick up nearby slimes. That's the same thing. If we are currently aiming, and the action must be aim. I think that'll work. Yeah, that's fine. That should be good. Now, for our movement controller, we'll do... We don't actually have anything here that we need to exit out of, so that should be fine. Sprinting is still not fully working, so I'd be interested into why not. One thing that we should do, though, is go back and put our sprint action directly into our dot if statement that we were doing before. Because this makes sure that we're only sprinting when moving forward or in the forward direction, and not if we're sprinting backwards, because there'd be a weird animation to play sprinting forward when you're sprinting backwards. So we'll just trigger sprint here, which also means at the end, so like if we're no longer sprinting forward, we should cancel the animation, which the best method for that would be what? Because if we trigger the action, that's not going to work. Because essentially, if we trigger our sprint action, or trigger the none action, let's say, every time that we are sprinting backwards, it's going to keep forcibly overriding our aiming trigger or any other action that we do. So we don't want that to happen. If we don't have this, we're never going to leave the sprint animation when we start to run backwards. Like here, this should work, but if we start to sprint backwards, nothing should play. Yep. Then we start to sprint forward, it does play. The issue is now we start to sprint backwards, and it will keep playing, which we don't want. So we could do what? We could make an exit transition. Like if we did what we did before, player manager dot current action is action none, which is what we're doing for sprinting. Then we can go to the animator, make a transition to idle, and to be honest, we can even make a new boolean for no action, maybe. Has jumped, is grounded, no action. So then if we added a condition, like if no action is true, then get out of running. We don't need that anymore. We can remove the exit time as well. And the way we'd do that would be in update. What we can do is get the current action animation. String current action anim is get animation for the current action. And what we can do then is update our animator. We'll set a boolean for current action animator. We'll say, so if the current action is nothing, we'll update that to true. No action. We actually don't need to get the animation then. Otherwise, we set the no action boolean to false. That should essentially ensure that this transition will only ever happen if running, if no action is true, and that'll only happen once because it's a transition instead of a trigger. So we're sprinting and we run backwards, does not do anything. That is because hot reload keeps breaking. Honestly, we might just stop it. I don't know what's going on with hot reload. these days because it keeps breaking, and I do not appreciate that. Okay, let's try this now. So we're sprinting, and I start running backwards. It fixes itself. We start sprinting. That works. Now we jump. Animation does not play. Hold right click. That animation does. Then we throw, which left click does not work anymore. Interesting. Left click. Okay, that works. Now we can't pick up our slime. What is going on? If the current action is aiming, which it is when we right click, we're triggering aim animation. So why is that not working? We trigger the aim animation, which is here. That should work fine. The current action is the new action. Update the current action. I think we've gone too complicated. We need to really just shrink a lot of this. Let's collapse everything just so we can get a better view of everything. Let's make sure what we're doing is even correct. Fundamentally, what we need to do is play our normal animations, which sprinting... Honestly, we might have sprinting not be in action, I feel like. Because you can basically aim while sprinting, and you can aim while not sprinting, right? You can jump while sprinting, and you can jump while not sprinting. So I don't think sprinting matters much, to be honest. So let's cull sprinting from our action list. And we'll bring sprinting back into a core controller variable, which is easy enough to do. It's just set its sprinting false, set it to true, and set it back to false. Won't check Discord. My Discord doesn't have notification sounds anymore. I don't know why. Let's have a look. I think the first one. The font's better, and you can actually see the word Hollow Knight, which is kind of vital for people with thumbnails. Okay, that should be fine. Now what we'll do is, let's go back to our animator. Let's forget about no action. We don't need that. Let's make a boolean for is sprinting again. And let's reset all of this stuff. If you're not sprinting, then transition back to running. Otherwise, if you are sprinting, transition to running. This should work. Now, the one thing that we do need to figure out then, we don't need this. The one thing we need to figure out is when we crossfade, we need it to only crossfade essentially the action animation on top of core animation. So let's see how we can do that. I'm actually not too sure on that one. Because basically, when we go to falling and jumping, for example, when we jump, we then play falling, and then from falling, it goes to idle. But it should also technically be able to translate into running. Like, it shouldn't matter, it should just go into any of whatever the core value is. So one method of that is how we have action. Let's make a new enum, and let's call this one core state. There we go. And the core state is idle, or it is sprinting in this case. It's just how we trigger the action. Let's go ahead and trigger the core state. I'm not even sure if we're going to need a function for, so we'll leave that empty for now. So we have our core state. And what we should do when we trigger an action... No. What we should do is store the core state. So let's go... Core state is... It starts by being idle. We're always idle by default. Oh. Thinking it's a function. That's fine. Okay. Then, when we're moving and we start to sprint, what we do is... Let's hide all of this. Let's go player manager dot core state is equal to sprinting. Stops. So this is equal to idle. Then we set our core state. If we should be sprinting, set it to sprinting. If it shouldn't be, so we're running backwards, we'll keep it on idle. That will make sure that we're always transitioning, right? We're either sprinting or we're idle, which is good. Because then we can kind of remove the transitions here, right? So from falling and even from throwing. And we need a way of tracking if an animation is finished. Because essentially what we're going to do is when our action is complete, go back to the core state animation that we're saving. So first, let's go and make a new dictionary map. We'll go get core animation. And we'll call this one core state. And we'll do the exact same thing that we did before, except this one is for idle or for sprinting. And in the case of idle, we just return idle. And in the case of sprinting, we return running. I don't think they are case sensitive. Let's add capitals here. Make sure we have our colon. And the default, no state, will also always return idle. The reason why we're doing idle is it basically forces the animation to be playing something, and the idle animation is a good default because everything technically should transition from idle. So it's a good balance. Okay, so now that we have our core state, in the update function, we can say if the current action is none, then go back to the initial core state. We can try that. So that's on update. And this one is just if the current action is none, return to core state. Which is get core state name. Get core animation using our core state, and then just play core state animation. There we go. Let's see what that does. I think there's a couple things that might break this, but we'll see. So, if we start to sprint, we instantly have an error or an issue. So let's see why that's happening. Sprinting should be true and should never go to false while we're holding shift, which means it should stick to running. Why is it not doing that? If the player is not sprinting, set us to idle, which is fine. If we are moving, go to sprinting. If we're not moving forward, go to idle. That's fine. And then here we go, current action should be none. There should be no action. Oh, actually, what that probably means then. Actually, no, hot reload isn't on, so should be compiled. Okay, well, if it is compiled, then that's not a problem. I don't think that it's like repeating the same animation that we're already on. I don't think that's the issue. It's just not looping for some reason. Like we start sprinting and it plays. It doesn't even play the full animation, it just plays like half of it and then stops. Right now, though, we start sprinting and we're always aiming, which is nice. And then when we are sprinting and we try to aim, it plays the aim animation, which is good. When we stop playing, it does go back to sprinting, which is exactly what we want. So that's good. The issue is that it's just... It's not still Like, it's not looping. Why is it not looping? And when we jump, okay, there's a lot of errors there when we jump. That's nothing to do with sprinting though. That's fine. So why is it not looping? Because if we go to the player animations for the arm, go to running. Running is most certainly a looped animation. Yeah. So why is this not actually looping? I have no idea. Transitions if sprinting, and sprinting is false. I wonder what would happen if we disabled this. Like if we removed the transitions. Or because if it's a core animation, maybe we don't need to? So when we throw, let's say, we are triggering a none action. And in that case, we should repeat. Maybe what we do, keep this out of update. If animation name is not null, play the animation. Otherwise, we're going to go reset to the core state. Then in get action animation, we can go back to setting this to null because it's going to be whatever the core state currently is. So that should be fine. And then that way, when we start aiming, we trigger aim. When we stop aiming, we trigger nothing. And then when we throw, trigger throw. Let's see what that does. This should stop it from causing any form of loop, like looping the actual setting of the animation. So now sprinting doesn't do anything, which is fine. That actually makes sense. Let's go back to setting the booleans directly for the animation. And let's see what this does. So now it should play. Is sprinting does not exist. Oh? What do you mean is sprinting? Oh, that's setting this to capital. That makes sense. It's fine. We go lowercase because it's a variable and I use camel case, not Pascal case. Let's see if this does anything. No errors, which is good. So we start sprinting and it plays the animation. Stop sprinting, it stops just like it was before we remade that animation system. Now when I hold right click, we're aiming. Left click throws it. And then I still can't pick up. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe we quickly fix that. Which is this here. It's just confusing on why it's happening. If the current action is on aim, and we're aiming, then when we press the and if the aim key is down and the current selection is null, I'm not too sure what is stopping this from working. It only ever happened when we added this line, but I don't know why exactly. I mean, we can close it for now. It's not going to matter because we're going to change some of the code anyways. So let's see if our animation works. So while sprinting now, if we hold right click, we go to aim. I let go and we're back to sprinting. Hold right click and I stop moving. And then I let go and we go to idle, which is exactly what we want. Now while sprinting, I throw, that plays, and we're back to sprinting. I think that's worked. Now jumping works. And sprinting forward and then sprinting back, that works. Okay. That's our animation system. It's going to need some tweaking. I will say, it's going to need some tweaking in the future, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad. If action can be found, play animation. Let's just comment all of this out. Else return to core state animation. Okay. That's an animation system. It works, and honestly, it works pretty damn well. And what's good, this is our animator. Look how clean this is. No spider webs, no running, transition to throwing and aiming idle and to falling and then transitioning back. We don't need any of that. This is great. Okay. Well, our next step then, we do need a holding capsule animation, and we need to add the functionality for throwing our capsule. What do I want to do first is the question. I think let's try to get our throwing animation actually working. Because if we go back here to our Blender file and we go to our throw action and go to root throw. Okay, so we're here. It launches and it ends like that. So the arm stops near the center, like right of center. When we're in Unity, however, and I think this is the only animation that it looks kind of inaccurate, is when we throw it, the arm kind of like stays to the right, and I don't know what causes that exactly. Because this works fine. So I really have no idea what causes that one. But essentially what we need to do, and we can start with just the aiming functionality first. So let's go to aim, and let's get our capsule aim action. And aim is... how long? 18 frames, I guess? Let's make this 18 frames long. Yeah, I think 18 frames. Okay. So on frame 9, we need to grab our capsule. No? Is it frame 12? Okay, it's frame... yeah, frame 12. So on frame 12, we need to spawn a capsule and grab the capsule. How do we do that? Becomes the question. First, what we really should do is go ahead and import the capsule. So let's make a new folder for our props. And we might give that like a We'll give props orange for now. Why not? Let's make another folder for storage capsule. And then inside of our models folder, let's go ahead and import our capsule asset. There we go. And this capsule should hopefully be the correct size. It looks like it is, which is good because then we don't have to really mess with anything. And all we're going to do... Oh wow, you can really see the lines when it's not transparent. I definitely need to fix that. But otherwise, I think the capsule looks pretty good. Okay. So what we need to do is create essentially a capsule transform. We'll make a new empty. We'll call this storage transform, or maybe even like backpack transform. And we're going to be positioning it right here. So where's the positioning needed? I'm in pose mode, that's why. There we go. Let's grab all of this position data. That's not doing anything. Why is that not saving? Is it because we have M at the end? It is. Okay. That's fine. These are opposite. Sorry. This is going to be a little bit of back and forward right now, so bear with me on that. Delete the M. Then we can set the rotation. Set the Y rotation. Z rotation. That should be fine. Now that's inside of the player, which we don't want. So how do we get that back out? Basically, everything here is pushed forward, right? Where we can see it here. If we were to grab this and on our Z transform, we minus that. That should work. If we were to add the storage capsule directly in the backpack transform with no rotation, no position, this is what we get. So let's fix any of this. There we go. I believe that's the right position. Let's just double check. Let's add the player model back in. We can even hide that. Looking at that, looking at this one, I believe that's just about right, which is good. Is it usually that close? I mean, that's sticking out. I guess that is as well. Hard to really tell. I'm not sure. Okay. So now, let's go to our Arsenal manager. And what we need to do is we're going to add in let's say backpack variables, I guess. We're going to add in 2 new fields, a transform which is our backpack transform. And we'll add in a game object, which will be our capsule prefab. And then when we go to aim, how can we make this work? We need to count essentially the amount of frames. So I'm not too sure how to do that though. Just build the capsule. I mean, I guess we can start. Do we still have the arm animation? Doesn't look like it. Okay. Let's add another field. Hand transform. Hand bone. When we start to aim, what we should be doing, create capsule and parent to create capsule in the player's hand. Which is just an instantiate. The capsule prefab, we parent it to the hand bone. That should be fine. We don't need game object instantiate because it's already a game object. If we did that, this should technically work fine. So let's just see, do we have the capsule in our hand? The answer is no. Of course it is. Let's see if it's spawning at all. There's definitely nothing here. And we do have an error, so that we might just not have assigned anything. See, player manager. And that's fine, it's Arsenal. Okay. Our hand bone. Let's get our backpack transform and our capsule prefab. We can also actually set. Okay, maybe not. Maybe this should be fine. I think part of the issue that we're gonna have though is that the capsule kind of gets counted from its position in Blender, which means it's not going to be in the hand itself. Like if we... Did that not... There it is. Okay, there it is. The castle's clearly not in the right position, right? And that is actually, in part, the 0, 0, 0. And we do need the offset of it, technically. So let's quickly get that. that's easy enough. We just display this. We can add the character model, and let's go ahead and enter in pose mode and get the storage capsule. How can we do this? I kind of need the position, I guess, of the bone, but it's gonna say because it's all local. Let's see. Essentially, what we need to do, right, is we're going to... We need to add an offset, right, so that it's actually in the hand, like it should be. And we also need to... Is that it? Actually, I think technically that is it. We do have this like 89.98 thing, so I don't know what's going on there. But that's easy enough to fix. We just need to get the difference in position, right? Like get the actual offset of this. So let's see. If I were to parent this to the root, does that change this transform? It does not. Just wait for that to save. Full influence, that doesn't mean anything for this. We need to get the local. Actually, wait, can I just do that? Hold up. No, that's just gonna give me the orientation. That's not what we need. Select the chart. Okay, let's go real quick to the right hand. I don't think we can actually pound it directly to that, which is the problem. I'm not too sure how to do this. I don't want to like manually just try to figure it out by putting the capsule in place here. I don't want to do that. But also, I don't want to leave it like this either. I mean, it needs to be offset, which means like let's just pause. Local. Like that. It's not even right. Something like that. I really just don't want to manually do this because I feel like that would be horrible. I also do need to, by the way, I thought we disabled shadows in the last stream, but I think I keep doing it in play mode. No shadows for the player. They're getting annoying because they're completely covering the arms. Okay. Let's see. Okay, apparently this script might work. Let's try it. I would have a scripting thing. Scripting. I have no idea if this script will work or not. The armature is called root. It is the right hand. Be careful, it might be that one, but it should be fine. Right. Nope. Okay. Right hand. And the object is storage capsule. Does that work? Nope. Don't think this is gonna work. No. It's useless then. How can I get the offset of the capsule? I have no idea. Local position. Check. Let's just see if this works. You can find out the position rotation. Get. And this is just not working at all. Because we just can't select the bone because it doesn't give us any transform, so it's completely useless. What can we do then? Okay, I'm seeing another script to try, I guess. Pretty sure that's the exact, well, near the same one that we just tried though, so I doubt this is gonna do anything. But we can try it. Armature not found. No, of course it's not. think it's going to be that. Oh. Scripting in Unity is such a... Oh, in Blender is such a pain. Especially when you don't actually know what the script does. Let's see. Oh, is it armature here? So hold up. Here. Okay. Clear all. Okay, that's fine. We hit play. It runs the script. But it's not printing. Not in the console, at least. How can I see what it should be printing? Here we go. Okay, let's see if this works at all. I have no idea if this is correct, but we can give it a try. Let's get into the aiming pose, just so that we can make sure that this is good, and that we can line it up a little bit well. So we aim. Why is our shadow? I feel like now shadows are even worse than they were when we had cast shadows on. That's annoying. Okay, cast shadows, go to scene view. Okay, where's the player? First of all, where's my capsule? There it is. Now, let's figure this out. Rotation is zeroed out. Position, what it's saying, is 5.5, which is clearly not that. I don't even know where that went. It's up here now. Definitely not that. Let's zero these out for now. And let's try to line it up to see what it might be. Here. Just get that all lined up somewhat well. It's hard to see with all the shadow, but there's something like that. Something there. I mean, if that's what it's supposed to be, which it pretty much is, I mean, maybe a little bit more in. A little bit more. Like, yeah, something like that. That's fine, but how can I ensure that it's the full proper setting? The only other option, actually, Just trying to think. Maybe what it's trying to tell me to do is get the offset of the capsule. Like if I get the position of the capsule, let's just... No, I don't think... No, that's not gonna work. Blender's frozen now. That's not good. Why is Blender frozen? Come on. I don't know what's going on now. My entire Blender's program's just frozen. We're gonna have to restart it. And hopefully I don't lose any progress that I had. I shouldn't, but you never know. Okay, let's get this up. And then there we go. Like if I were to just select this bone, go cursor to selected, and then tried to say selection to cursor, that does not tell me the the positional offset. I mean, it kind of gives us, okay, it gives us some data. Let's do this then. I think this will be the easiest way to do this. Is selection to cursor, and then let's copy the new data. And then we can just basically subtract. Okay. Here. Minus. Okay, let's go X, B here, I guess. Is that even correct? I mean, that's going up. That's local, so global. Okay, I don't know what the X is doing there. Let's... Subtract the second value. And that should be negative. Don't think that's right, though I think that one might be that. And then the third value, which would be this minus there. We'll make that a positive. So that's clearly wrong. Oh, why is this so difficult? But just trying to get the offset of one object to one bone, I don't know why this is so hard. what is the reason you choose to make a game about slimes, and who's the other person? Other person is a friend, just an IRL friend. The reason why I decided to make a game about slimes is both, they are a few different things, right? Number one, I played Slime Rancher, and I thought that's a pretty fun game, but not much to it. I feel like, you know, there could be more substance to it. Number two, I started rewatching Slug Terror and kind of was like, is there anything that kind of gets that same vibe? And there isn't. And number three, which is kind of the most important one, every video game and every like project that I am currently working on and designing are 5, 10, maybe even 20-year long projects, right? They're very long and they're very costly, right? Like, I personally have an entire story that I've been designing that I'd like to turn into a full-on action RPG with like 2 other action RPGs, a new survival game, and an entire MMORPG. But that takes a lot of time and a lot of money. So, if I wanted to start my own game studio, if I wanted to kind of get a foot in the door, the best way I see is start with a smaller indie game that I know I can make within a couple years by myself, and then, you know, maybe that can become a full-on game studio. As to why slime specifically, I just think it'd be interesting. Again, I played games like Slime Rancher, Bugsnax. I've played a lot of other games as well, and I feel like just none of them really hit the mark in terms of what it could really end up being. And then once I started like thinking about this game for Slime Pioneers, I just started adding, and then eventually I had so many new features and story ideas and slime types and stuff that I was like, well, I pretty much have a full game now. I might as well just get it all working, essentially, make it a full game. Okay, let's open up System Console. Let's see if this does anything. Hopefully this is accurate. 0.0537, 2.0247, 1.3132. That is clearly wrong. Yep, that's definitely not it. Is that even the right data? And it's just showing zeros. I don't know why this is so difficult. I just need an offset and it's not working. Like, literally all I need to do, right? It's not even that hard. Go up. I don't know why I can't get the offset position. This is getting really annoying. Like, I can't even just copy where it is in Blender and try to get the position of the object, because there is no object. Like, if I were to just zero this entire thing out, right? I can't then get the position of the bone, because bones in Blender are not treated as individual objects, so I don't know where this specific bone is. Like it just shows 0 because it's all local, which is completely useless for me. I don't know how to get this data then. Let's see if there's any scripts that can help with this instead. Try right underscore hand. Nope. Actually, no, I don't think I have an underscore, do I? There we go. Let's see what this does. Let's go to the player. 0, 0, 0. And 0.0537 minus 0.0247. I think that's on the Z, not the Y. And the Y 1.3132. Okay. And then we can go what do we need to do? We need to push it back by the amount that we have in Blender. So that's on the Z. We're just going to subtract that number. So that should be the offset. Okay. Okay. This might work. Maybe. We do this. Okay. Then we can copy this exact data into the capsule. Let's put the capsule in the right hand. And then we set this local stuff. Right hand Y. And the Z. Oh, did I just... Oops. Hold up. Hold up. Okay. Go to transform. Does this work? Question mark. Is this not just zeroed out again? Is this not just what it was when there's no position? I'm so confused. I mean, we can drop the rotation, but is this position not just... I'm really at a loss, to be honest. I'm really at a loss. Because it has to be accurate, because we're going to have to essentially repeat this type of animation stuff for any animation that interacts with an object or an item, right? And other than aiming, I mean, holding any item, you're going to see it up close, so it can't be offset. Like, it has to be perfect. I don't know why, though. This is wrong. Like, the only thing I can think of is that this is in global space. So in local space, the transform here, which just completely breaks it. But I don't really know how to fix that. I mean, the only real option to fixing that would be if I create an empty, go to the right hand, okay, zero out this empty, fully zero it out, go out, and then, okay, we go grab this X value, grab the transform X value. I don't know if minusing or plussing is what I'm supposed to do. So we'll see. We'll try both, I guess. We'll go storage capsule here. I think that's wrong. Okay, let's try plussing then. Yeah. We'll set that. We go plus that number. And that looks more accurate, but I don't know if that's right. That feels a bit short. Then we can grab the y. So this y value and this y value. No, that's not it. When I set that. Wait, no, is this even... What's the bone there? Okay, hold up. Let me just figure this out. This plus this gives me storage X. Okay, I think I understand now. Let's see if this works. This plus this. And then this plus this. I think I got it. Is that accurate? That looks wrong. That's definitely wrong, right? I don't understand. Like, look, we go to frame 18, right? This is our aiming here. And let's actually fix all of this movement stuff that we just did. That broke everything, and now we can't even control Z it, which is great. Let's just reload that. Okay. By frame 18, this is what it should look like. Okay. That's clearly wrong, but okay, in fairness, this could be part of the idle animation. It could be. So, let's copy this data, put it into Blender, into Unity, sorry. When we instantiate, we're going to create a position and new quaternion. I think we have to do rotation first. And then position and then parent, I think. Okay. This one's going to be a little bit of jumping back and forth, so bear with me. There we go. That's your position data. And then your rotation data. This is going to have to be quaternion dot Euler angles. Nope. Quaternion dot Euler angles. There we go. A new vector 3. Grab in that one and the Z. And let's have a look at what this is all wrong. Cannot convert from quaternion to vector 3 dot Euler. Sorry. Cannot convert from quaternion to Euler angles. Why is that giving us an error, though? I don't get it. This is a vector 3 that we're trying to convert into Euler angles. Am I crazy? Oh, do I just skip the vector 3? Maybe that's it. Like that. Oh. Cannot convert quaternion to vector 3. Am I going crazy? We have a quaternion Euler for float x, y, and z. It's not just... No, it's not that. Have I forgotten how to do Euler angles? Convert vector 3 to quaternion. Is it not quaternion.euler? Quaternion.euler, x, y, and z. Yeah, that doesn't have errors. Cannot convert quaternion to vector 3. Okay, is the instantiation wrong? Okay, it's wanting position first. Could have sworn it just asked for rotation first, but okay. There we go. Let's see what this does. This might set it on a local basis. If it does set it local, what we'll do is we'll just have to instantiate it outside and then parent it. But let's see. Okay. So the storage capsule is well below the ground. Why are you below the ground? Because the vector 3 is literally 3.15, 1.75. That makes sense. So what we should be doing then, parent to ourselves, set the value. No, that's wrong. Why? It can't be 3.15, can it? Hold up. 3, 1. Okay, let's zero this out for a second. Okay. When it's under the player, yeah, it can't be 3. Am I? Did we? What? Where did we get 3.15 from? Minus 30. Was that the position of the player at the time? We're literally so close to getting this system done, and I can't figure out how to get a capsule to be in the player's hands. Like, all I need is literally all I need is the offset from the hand. I don't know why this is so difficult. We have our backpack transform. We know where the capsule will start from. Like the only other option, okay, is if we just said, screw all this, right? Parent it to the backpack transform, like that. And then we have to figure out how to wait 12 frames, because that's when we pick it up, right? That's when the arm is going to be in the right spot. So when I play an animation, I need to wait a certain amount of time. Essentially, I need to be able to wait exactly 12 frames of the animation, to be clear, not 12 frames in Unity. That's what's really annoying about it. The easiest are usually the hardest because they only seem simple and easy. Pretty much. This is really annoying though, because it should be really simple. Like, if Blender was at all decent, it would just tell me the local distance between the bones. And if Unity was at all decent, it would let me attach multiple animations on the one animation clip to essentially get the capsule to be in the right position. But we can't have nice things, so we don't get either of them. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Let's see if we can get this working. Feels like Stan's fight. Yeah. I mean, it's exactly... No. What am I saying? Okay. Of the 24 frame a second, it's at 0.5 seconds. Okay. So at 0.6667, that makes sense. So how do I do this? I just want to see if something works. Object. Object. And to the hand bone. That's fine. Let's go game object. Capsule. Match capsule. Okay. So that waits exactly 2/3 of the animation. Potentially. Not sure if this is going to do anything, but let's see. Let's go scene view so we can see exactly what's going on here. Okay. So we're having an issue where like it's creating the capsule when we stop pressing aim. So we actually want to move this. It's actually meant to be in here. Let's see if that works. Let's move our camera back into position. Hold right click. And that was way too delayed. So why did that not work? We go 12 divided by 18 frames. My don't have it anymore. Is this private? It is. Let's make this public for now. Dot it can't animator state info. Time animation 12 divided by 18 frames. Wait times high. Let's see if this works. It's all about the timing on when it actually parents to the object. So that just parented immediately. I didn't wait at all. What? 12 divided by 18, because it's frame 12 of 18. It should be. It should literally be waiting like 0.6 seconds or so, but okay. Let's just ignore all of this for now. 0.5F. Yeah. Half the time of a 24 frame animation. We can see if that does anything. The issue is I don't know if this is working in Unity animation time or if it's working in in Unity frame time or if it's working in the animation time because they're different frame rates. So here, okay, it vaguely worked. It looks like it parented at the right time, but it clearly did not position itself properly, which is fine if we can figure out why. So let's go here. And if we were to zero out everything now, is it in position? It is not. Why is it not in position? Why? Why? We're so close and it keeps going. Like, this is positioned to the bone, which in fairness, it's not meant to be positioned to the bone. It's just, that's wrong. I mean, what if we reset rotation? No, because clearly it's just the whole thing. The only option then is that the backpack transform is wrong, which doesn't make much sense. The other option is that the capsule is somehow wrong. Like, if we instantiated the capsule, I say capsule.local transform.local rotation is quaternion dot Euler 000, and local position is vector 3 0, and we see if that does anything. I mean, it should already be zeroed out. I can see that it's being rotated a bit wrong, because the capsule's standing up straight when it's imported as an FBX. So I can understand that, but I cannot understand why it's in the wrong position entirely. That's what I am struggling to figure out, because that backpack transform is exactly where this capsule is. 0.3907, 0.23457. Hold up. Wait a minute. Come on. A lot of transfer in between me. I haven't, just so you know, I have an automatic transfer plugin, so it's like changing my scenes when I just alt tab to them, which is why you kind of get this look of them constantly jumping around. Let's make sure this is 100% right. Okay, so what changed? Basically, we moved this position a bit. Let's see if that did anything. Hopefully. Hopefully it does something. I don't know how much more I could take of this. Why is my screen black? It better not break the entire game. Okay. We hold right click. Why is it down there? What is this? It's getting further away from where it's supposed to be. Why? Why is it so broken? Okay. Get the root minus that. I mean, honestly, I think that's what we're at anyways. So I don't think this is gonna fix it, but we'll see. It'll bring it closer to the hands again, but we'll still have the issue of it not actually being in the hand. Why? And we can see, right? Like, if we go right here, okay? we can see the moment it's going to get picked up from the back of the player, and it's going to be exactly when the hand gets there, I assume. Let's see. It's, yeah, like the moment the hand gets to the bottom, it's wrong. It's in the wrong position. If we parent this to the root, that's not going to do anything because it's all global. So, okay, what if we did this? Hold up. Plus that M. That puts it lower. I don't think that's going to be right. Okay, let's try the opposite. Let's go minus that. Let's see what that does. Because it looks like the root itself is offset a little bit. It's now stuck in the hand. That's clearly not it. And we can try doing the add. I doubt that's gonna do anything, because it's making it way too low. If I can't figure this out in 8 minutes, I'm just gonna have to go to bed and figure this out later. Now I'm just using the force to keep it up. Come on. Why does this not work? It's like, this is what I just don't get. It's at the exact position. It just needs to grab it properly, and it's not doing that. Let's see if this is definitely 18 frames or not. Not sure how to find that out though. Let's see. 17 frames. So what if we tried this? We go 12 divided by 17 frames. And then wait the wait time. Okay. Let's see if this does anything. I mean, it's 1 frame difference, but frankly on a 24 frame a second animation that could make the entire difference. Especially when we're getting so close to the wrist. Like, it's hard to tell that it's broken, but or that it's a frame off, but we can clearly see. Okay, that instantly instantiated it, so yeah, we need to yeah, instantiate it to the backpack transform and then wait the wait time. Why is that not waiting the wait time? What? That's instantly setting the parent, which we don't want. So (12 divided by 17). Let's see. We instantiate it at the hand position. Set the position. What if we create a new empty? Okay. Selection. Nope. Let's get the hand bone cursor to selected, and then on the empty, selection to cursor. And then grab this. Grab the storage capsule directly from here. Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and play this again. We do that, and the capsule's completely broken, but that's fine. No, don't. You can actually pause it. So I think I have the offset. I mean, we'll see, right? But I think. Okay. Minus 0.01686 by 0.08003 0.008868. That's not even an offset, is it? No. One option is flipping that. That's not it. How can this be wrong? This is I don't understand. So that should be here. That should be that. That should be that. That's clearly wrong. That's. This is literally the offset. What? Does nothing. This is literally the offset in Blender. I feel like I am going crazy. This is the offset of the storage capsule, which is in the center. Let's actually... Yeah, that's in the center. Okay. Compared to the bone. I have no idea what else I can do at this point, frankly. Because, like, this is literally the offset that's in Blender. And it's wrong. I don't know what else to do. I mean, the big thing here has got to be that this is all local, which ruins everything, basically. Like, we go local here, right? And you can clearly see it's pushing in different directions, so X is just wrong. When X should be, like, you look at the player, X is sideways. So... the only real option that's kind of left is I don't even know. What if we tried? Okay. I'm gonna try one more thing before I throw my computer out a window or something. Okay. Let's set the world space position, okay? We're going to set world space position to, and let's just not even have a parent. Set the world space position to the hand bone dot position plus a new vector 3, which in world space is this. That. And then we set the parent to the hand bone. What tree? True. Let's see if that works. Basically, we're setting it all in world space, applying the offset then. To see if that works. The old right click. It's close to the hand. It's like it's almost there, but it's wrong. So now let's set the rotation. Flip that to 0, 0, 0. Okay. It's wrong. it's still wrong. But it's better. Sort of. Not really. So in this case, what if we tried that there. Let's see what that does. Come on. Nope. That's definitely not it. Okay. I don't really know what else I can do, to be honest. Like, I have the exact offset and it's just wrong. We have the exact offset. We can zero out the rotation, but that doesn't even do anything. I don't know what else I can do. Like if the position's already correct, we are moving it in world space, which is what it should be in. And the rotation is already zeroed out. Bone center. I mean, okay. Is it? It's basically in an inverse of that. That's kind of where it's at. And the maybe no, it shouldn't be doing that because this is at the top object. What if? Okay. What if I put the cursor to this itself? How do I do that? I have no idea. We can try just like extruding this, then going to pose mode. Then grabbing that, cursor to selected. Grab out empty, selection to cursor. Let's see if that is any different. The other option is we can try having it parented to the hand bone and then applying this transform, but applying it in a world space position set. That's possible. I'm just not sure why it would really change anything. And no, that's just wrong. Great. Okay, let's instantiate this to the hand bone. And then we can just hard set the position directly using hand bone dot position, but because it's in world space position setting, maybe it is somewhat different. I doubt it. I'm pretty sure that's the exact same as before. Yeah, it's the exact same as before. I don't know. The rotation is zeroed out instantly, which is fine. But essentially it's like I have to move that inwards and move this down to like here or something. and even further down to there. Because we can hard set this, which I'm not a big fan of, but at this point, what else can we do? We'll just set that and that. Keep it on quaternion zeroed out. We can remove our enumerator. So we have that. It's our capsule object. When you stop pressing aim, you should handbone dot we need to essentially delete the storage capsule. We can either store the storage capsule. What we could do is, that's probably the easiest option, to be honest. Private game object, storage capsule. And we hard set storage capsule here. And then destroy storage capsule. And when you go to throw, also destroy storage capsule. The issue with this method is that when we cancel, like when we change action, it's going to still have the capsule there and we're going to end up duplicating it, which we don't want to do. So what we could do instead is like if, no, because we have to destroy it beforehand. I'm not sure. Like here, wow, you have your capsule. I let go, and it's actually still here. Why is it still here? I said delete storage capsule, and it does not delete the storage capsule because everything hates me. Storage capsule dot destroy. Maybe this will destroy the actual capsule instead of the reference to the capsule, I guess. Let's try that. So we hold it, we have a capsule, we right... Oh, no, it's still there. Why is it still there? How do I destroy a game object? Destroy game... Yeah, it is just destroy... Why is that not working? Destroy game object. We are setting it. Could be optimized. That does not matter. Is it because we're applying game object? Let's try that. See if that's any different. Because I was pretty sure I got it right in the first place, but it wasn't working. Let's have a look. Hold right click, let go. Okay, it's gone. Good. I can throw my slime and it's gone. Pick this up, aim again, throw. The throw animation is still busted, but that's fine. Now if I'm aiming and I jump, yeah, we end up with a storage capsule and now we have a duplicate. So we do need to fix that, but I am not entirely sure how to do that yet. So what I am going to do is going to just reset this, remove the game object. Okay. We're going to leave it here for today. I mean, we got the new animation system done, so that's good. I think I'm going to try to figure out this stupid capsule connector animation thing off stream. And that probably means that everything to do with our animation system and throwing the capsule and stuff will be done. Which means that I will most likely be going on a short gap where instead of streaming, I'll spend some more time working on the devlog video, because we're pretty much at the point to release a devlog video. I might stream part of that, but some of it's just, you know, writing a script, recording a voiceover and stuff, so that might not be on stream. We'll see how long that takes. I do have a lot of assessments due over the next 2 weeks, so that might space it out a bit more than I would like anyways. With that said, I'll try to get that devlog video done as soon as possible, and then we can get started on designing the map, getting that starting region in, which is good, because I won't have to look at a line of code for at least like a month, while we focus on creating 3D models and design work. So that will be nice, and I think that'll be a good change of pace, because you won't have to just look at a lines of code for a 3-hour stream. But that'll be for next stream. We'll do that after I get the devlog video done. That's the priority first. So with that said, I will see you guys next time. And I'll try to keep you updated in the YouTube community posts as I get the devlog video done, as I work on that. So yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning into the stream.